Hello everybody, it's Carl, your garden guy, and today, look at these beauties. I've got some beautiful Primulas going into my garden beds for autumn and some lovely winter and spring color. Come along and join me as I show you all the tips and tricks to planting these beautiful guys in your garden. Right, so I'm going to get into it and show you here quickly. What's really important with any sort of your winter annuals is that they really want a well-fed soil. They want tons and tons of organic matter in the soil. They really need those nutrients because they're fast growers and they like to eat. So I've already come through here a few weeks ago with a nice bunch of homemade compost. So I know this garden bed, you can still see some of it all around. Yeah, look at that. Oh, hey, yeah. I don't know if you can see that, but this is gold, boys. I'll tell you right now. So this bed is definitely well fed, and I've tilled it over a bit in advance as well. So I know there's been more than enough time for all the microbial activity to settle itself and make all the nutrients immediately available for the plant after planting. Now, all that's left is getting these guys evenly spread. So let's jump into it. Now, once you've cultivated your garden bed, as I've done here, you've done most of the work already because you can see that's nice and light, fluffy soil. I mean, you can literally do the test anywhere. This is a beautiful, light and airy garden bed, and these guys are going to take off immediately after planting. So all that's left to do now is space them and plant them nicely. I'm going to get into that right away. Now, what's beautiful about primroses is when you plant them together, you want to be planting quite a few of them amongst each other. They call it en masse, which means planting them in mass, right? And what that does for you is it sort of builds like a carpet of color all over the garden bed. And you can imagine in a sort of a brown, dead winter where everything's died back and taking frost, where everything's died back and taking damage, you've got these beautiful cold season crops coming through and coloring the entire garden bed like a blanket of color. It's the most beautiful thing, and I love getting Primulas in for that. So just carrying on here, gonna plant a few of them all around, up and down. So what I like to do is get some of the seedling food in here. It's an organic seedling food. And what this does is it's just that extra little kick of nutrients, which is gonna help this guy establish nice roots. And then as soon as he's ready, push those beautiful flowers and lots of them. So that's why we're using this guy. It's really an already pre-programmed little fertilizer, which is perfect for all your seedling needs. So you can get your hands on this stuff, it's worth your time. Right, I'm working in the last few in this corner, yeah? Look at this big boy, hey? All right, so I'm gonna squeeze him in right there, and look at that. In no time, he's gonna be popping up those beautiful spikes of purple, pinks, and whites. Absolutely stunning. Now you want to be planting these guys rather close to each other, obviously not right on top of each other, but close enough so that they can draw the eye together. You don't want to be creating multiple focal points in one garden. You want these guys to look like one movement all together, singing a symphony of color. That's what we're going for here. Another great tip when planting up any sort of annuals really, or biannuals, is to work your way backwards in the gardening bed. And what that does is it makes sure you're not sitting on top of your plants when you're planting. Okay, so let's get a few more in here quickly. Now, Primulas are some of the most beautiful little flowers for winter color and for that early spring color. They sort of have a dainty appearance, you know, they look like these little fairy, they're actually called fairy primroses, some of them. And they've sort of got this light, dainty appearance about them. And what's ironic is they're actually quite far from it. Once you've planted these guys and they've established themselves, they're actually pretty tough little buggers. They can take quite a bit if you give them enough water. You'll be surprised at how well these guys survive and perform in the garden if you give them a little bit of love. What's also a lovely thing about primulas or primroses is that they love to self-seed. Leave these guys to flower. After flower, they're going to pop little seeds, tiny little seeds, all over the blooming place, let me tell you. And that's lovely to see. If you keep your garden well maintained and your beds nice and healthy, these guys will be coming up by themselves next year, which means you won't even need to be planting. Can you imagine? Free plants. Seriously, gardening can't be easier. There we go, last few little guys going in now. And quite right, our fertilizer is finished as well. Right, okay, let me squeeze in here quick. So just the last few things when it comes to growing primulas, it's quite important where you position them, where in the garden you're planting these guys. They really don't want too much sun. They love a shady spot with some morning sunlight, very light dappled sunlight coming through out the morning. That's where you're going to get your best performance. And they'll take some frost as well. They'll take a little bit of frost to your primulas, but you don't want hard frost. Another really important thing when it comes to growing primulas is the time of the year. These guys do not do well in heat. They love the cold. You have to plant them in winter times. Well, technically in autumn, so that they can be growing in winter and flowering in late winter, midwinter and early spring. So as soon as the heat comes in the springtime, they'll die back quite naturally and seed, and that's the end of their life cycle. But if you want to have those beautiful colors and that stunning carpet of flowers, you have to plant them in April, May, June, and you'll be A for away. So now, once we've planted these little primulas of ours, we're going to give them a week or so, maybe a week and a half, to settle in and just establish their roots nicely. And then straight away we're going to kick it off with a nice foliar feed, which is sort of any water soluble fertilizer that you throw into a watering can. Stick to the rates on the instructions and water your plants in with that nice fertile water every 4 to 6 weeks or so, just to encourage those continuous flowers. And I'm telling you, man, you will be spoiling yourself and anybody who has the privilege to put their eyes on your garden. I hope these tips have helped you a bit. If you've enjoyed them, please share with a friend or like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you again for your time. I've been Carl Moore, your garden guy. Until next time, happy gardening.